The bright glow of the studio lights swept over the audience like a wave as another set of performers exited the stage. The crowd buzzed with excitement, still recovering from the previous act's energy. Cameramen shifted positions, producers whispered directions through headsets, and the judges scribbled small notes on their cards. It was a typical moment on Got Talent, that blend of anticipation, unpredictability, and spectacle that kept millions watching around the world. But then, everything changed. A small door on the left side of the stage opened, and a young man stepped out. At first glance, he didn't look like the kind of contestant anyone expected to see. He wasn't dressed in glittering clothes, didn't carry instruments, props, or backup dancers. Instead, he wore a simple white clerical shirt tucked neatly into black slacks. His hands were clasped nervously in front of him, and his posture was humble, almost too humble for a stage this grand. The camera zoomed in on his face, capturing the softness of his expression. He looked barely older than a college student, smooth skin, gentle eyes, and an innocence that contrasted sharply with the explosive energy the audience was used to. But behind that innocence was something else, a quiet courage, a purpose, a sense that he wasn't here for fame. He was here for something deeper. A ripple of murmurs spread through the audience. Is he a priest? No way, he's too young. Look at his shirt, he's definitely religious. Why would a priest be on Got Talent? The judges looked equally bewildered. Heidi sat forward immediately, curiosity lighting up her eyes. Howie raised his brows in surprise. Sophia whispered something into Simon's ear, and Simon, with his usual half-smirk, shrugged as if saying, "Let's see what this is about." The young man stopped in the center of the stage. The bright spotlight hit him, and for a moment, he looked like a figure in stained glass light, fragile, serene, glowing. A stagehand passed him a microphone. He accepted it with both hands, as if holding something sacred. A beat of silence filled the space. The host, standing off to the side, broke it gently. "Hello there. Welcome to the show. What's your name?" The young man swallowed, his throat tightening with nerves. "Good evening, my name is Father Elijah Santos," he said softly, his voice carrying a slight accent that hinted at his Filipino roots. The word father made the entire hall shift. A priest. On this stage, Heidi tilted her head. "Did you say, father? Are you really a priest?" she asked with genuine fascination. "Yes, ma'am," Elijah replied, bowing his head respectfully. "I was ordained at 21, and I serve at a small parish in the Philippines." The crowd reacted instantly, gasps, whispers, even a few impressed nods. A 21-year-old priest was already unusual. A 22-year-old priest on one of the world's biggest stages. That was something else entirely. Simon leaned forward, elbows on the desk. "Well, this is new," he said, his tone a mix of skepticism and intrigue. "May I ask what made you come all the way here to audition?" Elijah took a slow breath. He looked down, as if searching his heart for the right words. When he lifted his gaze again, it shimmered with earnestness. "I've always sung in church," he began softly. "I never planned to perform on a show like this. But, last year, our community faced a tragedy. A storm destroyed many homes, including our church roof. Many of my parishioners lost everything. I felt helpless. I prayed for guidance." He paused. The audience leaned in, hooked. "One day, a group of young people from our parish recorded me singing during Mass," he continued. "They uploaded it online without telling me. Somehow, that video reached millions. People from different countries sent messages, some saying my song gave them hope, some saying it helped them through pain. And when they encouraged me to try Got Talent, I thought maybe, just maybe, this is God's way of helping me help my community." A hush fell. No one moved. Even Simon, known for his tough exterior, seemed disarmed by the sincerity. The host nodded emotionally. "That's beautiful. And what will you be singing for us today?" Elijah's fingers tightened around the microphone. "A hymn," he said quietly. "One I've only ever sung inside the church. I never imagined singing it here." Simon gestured toward the technician booth. "Very well. Whenever you're ready." The stage lights dimmed dramatically. The colorful LED panels softened into deep blues and warm golds, colors reminiscent of stained glass in dim sanctuaries. The audience stilled, sensing something sacred, something different. Elijah closed his eyes. At that moment, the entire atmosphere changed. The laughter from earlier acts vanished. The restlessness of the crowd disappeared. Even the judges sat up straighter, as though stepping into holy space. He brought the microphone closer to his lips. His breathing slowed. The first soft musical notes drifted in from the background, gentle, reverent, almost heavenly. Then he opened his mouth and sang. A single, pure note floated out, so clear and so tender that the audience gasped collectively. It wasn't loud, it wasn't showy, it was divine. His voice carried a depth far beyond his years, a mixture of vulnerability and spiritual strength that wrapped around every ear, every heart, like a warm embrace. His tone was angelic, effortlessly rising into the air with a sweetness that made eyes widen across the room. By the second line, the hall was wrapped in a sound that felt like a prayer made of music, soft enough to soothe, powerful enough to stir the soul. One woman in the front row covered her mouth, tears pooling instantly. Another whispered, "Oh my God," under her breath. Even the cameraman paused a moment, forgetting his job. When Elijah reached the chorus, his voice soared higher, reaching shimmering notes that caused the judges themselves to lean forward in disbelief. Heidi's eyes glistened. Sophia placed a hand on her chest. Howie, usually analytical, simply stared in awe. And Simon Cowell, the notoriously hard-to-impress critic, slowly lowered his pen to the table, his expression softening in a way rarely seen. Elijah stood alone under that spotlight, but it felt like the stage had become a sanctuary. Every note he sang seemed to lift the room higher, like invisible incense rising to the heavens. His voice carried stories, of faith, of struggle, of hope, of a boy who grew into a priest through love and hardship. As he sang the final line, his voice dropped into a quiet, soulful whisper. It felt like a blessing, a gift. The last note lingered in the air, shimmering like a candle flame in the dark. Then silence. Not the usual applause anticipation silence, but the kind of silence that happens when an entire room forgets to breathe. A sacred silence. Elijah opened his eyes slowly. His lips trembled. He didn't smile. He didn't bow. He simply stood there, small, humble, waiting. The judges were frozen. The audience was spellbound. The world, for a brief moment, felt like it was standing still. And that was the moment everyone knew. This wasn't just a performance. This was a miracle unfolding on live television.